Hi, this is Laurie from Interior Design Community and To the Trade, and I have Nile here. Hi, Nile.
Hi.
How was your summer? You're surviving the heat?
I am. I'm surviving the heat. Not surviving this renovation, but I'm surviving the heat.
Well, you've got the kids at home too, so
Yeah. Let's not mention.
that's its own little adventure.
I
I
love it.
know. I remember
Yep.
those days.
Yep. Yep. I
And
could
we
write a
have
book.
Jenna Gaidusek here. I'm so excited that we have you, Jenna, because you and I have been speaking partners, I think, for the last year. We were like traveling together and talking about AI who will listen to us. Such an amazing website, and you're constantly giving interior designers the updated information about what they should move on and what they shouldn't when it concerns AI. And I personally think the service you're doing for the interior design industry is just amazing. I'm so glad that someone has taken this on and is a reliable, trustworthy resource for interior designers to, really dig into this and figure out what they need to learn and what they don't need to learn for them specifically in their business today. I just adore you. And I think that you have your finger on the pulse, and your motivation and the way you speak to designers is like,
Thank you.
completely
Thank
correct.
you, Laurie. It's
Couldn't
been
be
a fun
happier.
year with you. So I'm finally, I'm happy that we're finally doing this. It's been a while.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so, Niall and I have talked about this, I don't know how many times, that designers are a market for a lot of companies through the years. And there's a lot of like, hey, you better pay attention to this or you're going to be left behind and you're not going to have a business. And that has happened to interior designers since I've been in this industry thousands of times. Like, if you don't sign up for this buying program, and if you don't sign up for this software, and if you're not buying this, product or email list or this or that, or that you will not have a business and you'll be behind and everybody will think you're outdated and a loser.
Yep,
And
that's fear marketing.
So there's a lot of that going on. And there's a lot of designers. I think I could have 15 designers in a room and we could talk about for an hour about money that they have spent that has ended up being nothing.
Oh my
Like, okay, Niall, how many times do you think you've done that?
I could write a book.
Yes.
Like literally, I could write. I don't know. I've lost count.
Right.
But I've tried everything. I've literally tried everything.
Right. And the idea is, why are you trying it? You just want to make your life easier, right?
That's so funny. Yeah, you want to make your life easier, but you end up making it more difficult.
Right. Because sometimes, technology is amazing, and it can really save your life, and you can have new things that really do. Somebody I just talked to yesterday came to Design Edge with me, and we were talking about her going to High Point. She wanted to have a plan because she has a new rug line. And she's like, what I learned from you at Design Edge, I can track back to Design Edge as being the most pivotal moment that helped me with my productivity, because we implemented some of the things you said, and we did it, and it's increased our productivity. And I was like, you need to write that down, because I want a testimonial for that. And she sent it over to me. But it's those kinds of things. Like, do you jump at everything? And sometimes you're listening to a person who is telling you to jump at this, and it sounds amazing, like coaches or something, that you feel like there's this like fear that I'm going to be left out, or I'm going to lose out on opportunities. And no one wants to lose out on an opportunity. Who does? So, but you can't be stagnant either. So there's like the other side of the coin of that is, okay, well, I'm fearing now. I've spent probably $7,000 on things that don't work, right, in my business. Now you're really afraid to try new things. Now you're really like ultra cautious. And sometimes that can play against you too, because there are things you need to invest in your business to go forward, right? So I love that you approach AI in a really like common sense way, like just in telling the audience that they should just pay for ChatGPT for $20 a month. Like that's not, you're telling them that not because it's I mean, it's a small investment, $20 a month, but that ChatGPT is learning from you. Explain to me like how you got into this and why it's so important to you that designers.
So as a
follow this
designer
path.
myself and being in this kind of niche area of technology and design with my previous company, eDesign Tribe, and then it was acquired by MyDoma Studio, I am a millennial kid, and I grew up in the 90s doing Sims, and then SketchUp was what I learned in design school, and it was Google SketchUp, and it had just barely come out. So I learned how to hand draw my first semester, but then like do the stuff on the computer. So I am this weird hybrid of interior designer, tech nerd, and just kind of figuring out like what's fun and what makes sense for our end goals as a professional, right? So what keeps the business running, but also what fulfills us and makes us happy. And for me, that was building Sims houses, before with all the cheat codes so that I could just build and have fun. And I look at it and I approach it in the same respect now. It's like, what makes sense for you and the end goal that you have for your business and how you like to create your deliverables, because we are all different in the art that we're creating to get us from point A to point B and convey our design, right? So there's no cookie cutter way to do things. You can hand sketch and we can integrate that into technology, or you can just do it hand sketch and then send it to a client, or you can do everything online. There's no right or wrong way. And so I like to meet designers where they're at with practical solutions. So if Google is the better solution to just maintain everything in your business than paying for a software and a platform that's hundreds, if not $1,000 a year, then use Google. That's just the best option for you. So I love to like Tetris identify technology and where it fits into everybody's workflow and also like their budget, because everybody's different.
Right. Well, I love that line Tetris fit. Like you're getting it to like designers love that
We
too.
love
Like
that.
you're getting it to fit perfectly. Ideal solution. I can picture that and go, well, that feels good. But I think that people are not sure about, I think there's a lot of fear around still around AI, and designers live in a world where authenticity is king. That is the most important thing to a designer, I think, is authentic, because so many things look like other things and are not the same. Look at dupe.com and all the furniture that it can look like, a sofa from, the industries, but it's not. It's not that you cut that thing down the middle with a chainsaw and you don't know what's in the middle, and designers care about quality on a different level than I think an average quality. So AI is scary because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel authentic. And it's hard enough, I think, for designers to jump into social media.
Yeah.
Just like doing a video, doing a post feels inauthentic sometimes to an interior designer, because they're like, I don't feel that way right now today. And I don't want to be not myself, And so I think that this is that heightened. And I also think there's a little bit of, and Nile, you can tell me too, what do you think about, do you think that there's any fear surrounding AI taking an
I think, so I think that fear lies with the designers who are also any sort of progress. Like, I think that if you have not, so yes, to answer your question, yes. But I think if you haven't even tried, then you still have that fear. Because if you've really dumped into AI, you'll see that there's no way it's going to take your job. There's no way. There's just no way it's going to take your. It's just never gonna. It's never going to happen. It's never ever going to happen. It's good. It's just not that good.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could be fair to say that there is a certain level of designer that it could. Like, there's a certain level of designer that it is in its infancy, and that it could possibly take a Pinterest picture, throw it into AI, get it to source dupes, get it to you literally take a picture of your room and it kind of decides what the sizing is and fits that into your room, that style into your room, and gives you a product list and here's everything to buy. Is that service?
That's an app.
No. Is that
Yeah.
really, that's an app, and but for a certain level of design who maybe that's what they are doing, they might be nervous about that part of it. Is it going to be full service design? Never, 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 never. It will never be customer service, but there are aspects of it that will be kind of scary for people.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about the agents,
Yeah.
I don't want to get there yet. We'll continue,
That's coming.
but
Yep.
we'll talk about agents later on. Agents are kind of something that are like, ooh, there are things that are like happening faster than we had. When I sent you that video yesterday of you can take a photo of yourself, Nile, and you could have like anything, like, just something in your hand, and you can sell it with a little script, and it's an AI version of you. And we've seen these before, and they were really bad.
Yeah, they're good now.
It's not really bad anymore. It looks like you. Like, you would not know it's not you saying whatever you want to say. And that,
I don't know. I guess I'm very cynical because I have not seen a good version of anybody yet. Like, I haven't seen a good version of anybody anywhere do anything. So I'm like, maybe I'm looking at the wrong things. Maybe I'm not using it right. But I'm just like, I scroll all, like, I just look at everything and I'm just like, it's great. It's just from the visual and video standpoint, I'm like,
It's off. Yeah.
It's just not, it's not there. Yeah, it's
let
off.
me send you, I'm going to send this to you while Jen and I speak for a second. I want you to look at that real quick and tell me what you think. Because
Okay.
I'm just curious. I just texted you something that I think is update that is part of ChatGPT, and you can take a photo of yourself.
VO3 too. You can do.
Or it's a little video, and it looks, I've seen the ones you're talking about too, and they're really bad. They're really, really bad. These ones are, it's just getting better faster than I expected. I would think that was 5 years out. And
considering where we were last year at the beginning of the year.
Right. Yeah, I'm pessimistic about it too, because I mean, people always are like, oh, in a year it's going to know more than all of humankind times 50. I'm like,
tell us what to do then.
But at the same time, you can't help but think of the past and imagine the person who, I always tell people about ChatGPT. I told Nile like a year ago, I'm like, I think ChatGPT is a Google killer. And I didn't say that at the last event we were in because Google is a sponsor. But I was like, I think this is a Google killer for Google. I think Google's playing catch up on ChatGPT versus Microsoft. And I think, now, what do you think? You just saw that, what I just sent you. What do you think of that?
This is kind of good. Yeah, this is a little, it's a little shocking and disturbing at the same time.
I know. I'm telling you, that is the kind of stuff that's coming out every week that we're like, Jen and I are like, I know. Oh, I will text her and be like, look at this.
I know.
Wow.
I don't believe anything anymore.
That's insane.
And my 8-year-old doesn't either. She's like going through Pinterest.
Yeah.
She's like, that's AI, because I don't let her on social media, but she's like, she can tell. And the fact that they already are so skeptical of everything that they see, it's sad, but it's also good to teach them that, because then you have our parents' age where like they're getting phone scammed by, voice clones, and they're coming from the direct phone number of like their daughter or something because they've been hacked with the phone line. So it's a crazy time, and I don't trust anything. It is.
Right.
It is sad.
No, which is sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I know. It is. And it's surprising that people think that these AI filters like Instagram, Facebook have, like, it will market as AI. Well, it doesn't.
Right.
Almost 90% of the time, it doesn't market as AI when it really is. So I know, because I put things out there that are AI, but it doesn't mark as AI, So I know it doesn't always work because I've tested it. So I think that that's another layer of fear for people. But at the same time, like when I think back to progress that I've seen in my lifetime. You know, do you remember the days where if you had a big ad in the yellow pages, you were the person everybody called to for the plumber or the electrician or the contractor or the interior designer? And those people who had the big ad on yellow pages didn't think websites were relevant. Why do I need to do that? I have the biggest ad on the yellow pages.
Yeah.
And I still argue with designers about whether or not Google business is important to them. And I would start to say now to designers, look, I know it sounds crazy, but I've had enough time in this industry. I might be paying attention to Bing a little bit now because Bing is owned by Microsoft and ChatGPT is owned by Microsoft. So pay attention to the ecosystems with which you're doing business. You don't know if ChatGPT is preferring Bing listings over Google listings, even though Google is king for SEO, because why wouldn't they prefer their own ecosystem? So thinking about, you know, SEO and Bing versus SEO and Google might be kind of on my radar a little bit more as I delve into large language model SEO. So these might be out of your realm of understanding, but there are things to move on, and there are things. The reason I'm saying any of these words, you might not even understand some of these words. Large language model is just basically like any of the SEOs that are, I mean, any of the ChatGPT type things that are out there. So that is how you're finding things. Are you on ChatGPT to look for recipes or where to go on vacation or which restaurants to go to? Well, that is something you used to Google. That's all we're trying to do is how can you as your business come up in that search? So if somebody else is looking for an interior designer, how do they find you through those resources now? And so just understanding how it works a little bit and paying attention and figuring out how to crack the nut as much as you possibly can. Some of it's already established, but I will tell you one of the interesting things that is going to work out for all of you that are on social and on Instagram and Facebook, and you're like, why am I doing this? I don't feel like I'm ever getting anything back. Well, one of the things that's beneficial that I've been paying attention to is both Google and ChatGPT have announced that what used to be link backs, like, so if somebody put a link up to your site from their site, that usually was building your authority. That was very important to SEO 10 years ago. Well, now they're using social media for authority more than they are using link backs. That is announced by Google. And so what they're going to start doing is indexing all of your tweets and social posts, and they're going to say who has authority in the area. So if you know a designer who never did anything on social, and you've been spending all this time on social and you don't think you're getting anywhere, well, that's just becoming more important to you and to the ecosystem of how you are going to be found. So that's going to be hugely beneficial to the designers who've invested in this world of Instagram.
Has Instagram started categorizing or cataloging already, or is that coming?
Already it has within its ecosystem, and they're supposed to be talking to each other.
I knew it was
that is so interesting because I literally just got a call the other day from somebody, and they said I know they found me via Instagram, and they said, but they filled out that they found me via Google. But they messaged me in my comments and said, on Instagram, I want to set up a consult with you. Please tell me how. And I said, DM me. And we met the other day. But on the form that she filled out on my site, she said Google. That she initially found me via Google. So I guess she found me on Google, clicked the link to my Instagram, and then started following me for, I guess, a couple of weeks because I noticed her pop up, and then finally sent me a message. That's so interesting. I didn't know that. Wow. Because I've never gotten anybody from my social media before.
Right. I mean, I think that you're going to find more and more, but it's really might come in through ChatGPT, might come in through Google AI version, might come in a lot of different ways, but it really is because of the authority you've built on social media, if that makes any sense.
Interesting.
And it's categorizing things. If you go into a message that you did, like a post that you did, and you look at the replies. So if I click on what people commented, sometimes it gives you like an AI topic about what this already is at the top of it. It will say this is about, and it's not necessarily always what you wrote. So it's categorizing what we're writing without us actually having to say those words. It's saying this belongs in this file folder and this belongs in this file folder. Like this might be interior design community. This may be how to build a better contract, be how to have the perfect living room. You know, it knows based on the photo and what you're writing, where to categorize you
And probably
and where you're building authority. And
the
that
transcripts
is
too,
already
because
AI.
everything is auto transcribing. So
The
it's pulling
transcript.
from that, and then your alt text that
Right.
hopefully you're putting behind images when you go to post. Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And, you know, but I want to caution designers, there's, you know, a lot of AI out there. There's a lot to choose from. And that's why a partner like you, Jenna, is so important, because you can spend thousands of dollars on this tool and that tool and this tool that's AI and that tool. And all of it seems like it'd be great. All of it seems like it's going to solve every problem you've ever had, but it doesn't always. And so smartly understanding where that tech stack needs to be for you and your business, and having somebody who has an idea of the overall playing field and then can say, okay, this is for you, that's not for you. You don't need to move on that for 2 years. You know what I mean? So that they don't have to sit there and, first of all, spend all the money that they testing everything. And then also, you know, what there's only so much bandwidth a person has in their head. Like, this is what I'm doing right now. And you can say, well, this does the same thing. You don't really need that for AI if that's working for you, you know, in your system. And you can give them real advice on what it is they need to be investing in and what they don't, because that is not necessarily the money, it's the time.
Yeah.
It's the time, you know.
So, Jenna, a designer just starting out, would ChatGPT be something you would suggest for them to?
Yeah, so
their entree
ChatGPT
into
is always
AI,
like
or?
my first recommendation, because you can do so much with it, and it's only $20 a month. But I also say to go to what you're already using for your business. So for me, a lot of my business is just Google, you know, like my Gmail's there, and then that's where I always store my documents. My cloud storage is there. You might be using Microsoft. So Copilot might be your better AI model, because it's infused in your inbox and inside of like your PowerPoints, your Word already, right? But for me, when I open up like my computer and I start to write an email, I will activate Gemini in my inbox on the side panel. It'll look at all that email thread in the conversation, and it'll just give me a recap. You know, like, what do we talk about in this 27 email thread? And then I can just have it on the side panel and ask. The other day, I was talking to Veronica with Design House, and she sent me a list of all of these upcoming events. And I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to sit here and put all these things in my calendar. I brought up that email. I had the Gemini side panel, and I just said, can you add all of these events as tentative to my calendar? Don't mark me as busy, but create these events for me. And then it created all the events and put them in my calendar just from a sentence, and then clicking, yes, add these. That is the simple things that I'm looking for. I don't need to tell you how to reinvent the wheel. I don't need to tell you how to, you know, look at ChatGPT and create all these different images and then like go to 10,000 other programs. We don't need that. Just consolidate and go with what you know, and then branch out. But ChatGPT is great to supplement all of that.
Right. Yeah. I've used it for, you know, if I put in a big Excel spreadsheet and I'm like, just pull the emails from this. I just want emails separated as a comma separated value. It might be 44 people, but I want to email them BCC so that I can just like get that out quickly to this group. Hey, I'm coming into town. I'd like to meet up with you. And I just do that quickly. So there's lots of like little hacks you can do that will, I mean, if I had to do that by hand, it would be hours to sit there and go through every single person on the database and copy their email and then, you know, put it into a paragraph and comma, comma, comma. You know, I think that's the key that I've always been interested in for the designers, is the time saving. I mean, how many designers do we know who are working overtime that are not working a 40-hour work week, right? Any little shaving off an hour here, shaving off an hour there gives them that time back to decompress, Like that is the part that I am the most interested in. It's not, here's another huge side job to learn AI that is going to revolutionize your life. It's more that what can you do faster because
Yes.
you have these tools? What can you speed through that you were avoiding because you have these tools? Like it could be the mean email you got from a client and you could just like throw that into ChatGPT and saying like, how can I answer this professionally really quick? You look through it quickly, you send it off. I don't care if they think it's written by AI. Honestly, they wrote you a mean email like that. Caring about their feelings on that front are stupid. So
Yeah.
don't spend the time stressing about it. Just get it done and move on. And those kinds of things that designers will sit with, and it'll eat them up, and they'll be sick to their stomach about, just get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off, write the email back. This is the way, just say, this is how things are, done. Or, a blog post that you have to write for SEO, or you should be writing for SEO, but you don't want to really write it. It's boring to talk about best interior designer in Philadelphia. You don't want to write that, but you have, if you really should be, so that you get more Google response or LLM SEO, whatever that might look like. Here's something you can do where you feel like you got something done this week for your marketing, but it didn't take you 20 hours to do it. It took you an hour to do, that kind of thing. I think that we all put those tasks off because we don't have the time. And I can tell you, I've used it that way in the year to almost 2 years I've been using it. I've been using it in ways, and people have been telling me, Laurie, you're everywhere. Well, guess what? It's not just
Exactly. That's why I scaled this business as fast as I did, because I did the things I was teaching. That's why it went so fast. But to piggyback on what you were just saying, Laurie, like when people are just starting out with all of this and you're going back to the things that you're already doing, like, so with that email, if you were writing that in Google Gemini, it gives you something right there that says, is this how you want to answer it? You don't even necessarily have to put it in ChatGPT. It's already built in. And that's what we're starting to see more and more of, is the infusion in your day-to-day programs.
Sure.
So a lot of these are like doubling down on like, what they can already do, and then they'll add new features, and you're like, oh, I can go cancel this other one because now this program does all of these things for me. So it's nice to save money and just simplify our life, because I don't know about you, Nile, but like the amount of time I spend in a day just messing around doing stupid things, and I'm like, where did the last 45 minutes go? Yeah,
really,
but my goal is to cut out that. And I think we all do it because we're creatives and we find ourselves like in this tunnel, and then we're like, okay, well, that was way too long spending on tile, right? But then we enjoy it to an extent, and that's why we did that, right? But there is part of us that kicks ourselves after where we're like, now I'm going to do all these other things. So I love to start with, what does your day-to-day look like for you and your team? And going through your day-to-day, can you just simply ask ChatGPT or Google or Microsoft, as you're going through your emails, okay, put this on my calendar, invite this person? Because for me, like, calendar work is time consuming, right? Getting in there, inviting the people, making sure everything's where it should be, like, and then assigning your location and then Zoom and all that stuff. That stuff can take some time, but if you can automate that part of your process, you just got 10 minutes back. And if you do all those little tasks all day long, you're just banking more time throughout your day to day.
Yep. That's so true. Like I even started thinking about like, what are my weaknesses? What things do I hate to do? Like I hate making a schedule. So I just started using motion. I'm not going to be I love it. I'm not going to be as disciplined, right? So if I just drop everything in there and then I'm checking things off, it's going to rearrange my schedule for me and say, okay, now do this, now do that. You said this was a priority. Or, answering the phones, when I know, 50% of them are going to be sales calls, right? So that M1 is a game changer, right? Because now I have AI answering the phone, and I've had so many clients say to me, I thought I was talking to a real person. And I'm like, good, because then I can just read the transcript if I don't answer, and they feel like they're still getting a person, and it all, it works out. So no, you're right. The things that you can streamline, you do that, and it gives me my time back to do the stuff that I love doing.
Right. And also the time with your family. That's the other, and the time to be I feel like creatives get burned out easier if they don't have time to just think Just sit
Yes.
and think and quiet and then when you have responsibilities like kids or, you know, a significant other, or you're taking care of your family, elderly parents, whatever that might be on your plate, if you don't have the carve out the time to do the business, but also be alone and think, and also have time for the responsibilities of life, then you start to, that's when people get burned out. That's when people start to go, what is this for? Why am I doing this to myself? I don't feel creative. I can't feel creative in an environment where I don't have time to decompress my thoughts. And I think that's a real rampant problem in the world of design. And so that's why it matters to shave off the 15 minutes here, the 20 minutes there, the hour there, because that is needed in some other corner of your life to be happy. And that's why, I mean, that's ultimately why that Nile and I started this podcast. We were noticing after COVID, the busyness of COVID, I was just getting more and more designers who were telling me they were burned out. And I was like, well, we'll try to tackle that as a holistic problem. And I think this is partially the solution, is like, you've got to carve these times out. I think even for just silence, even for just contemplation, you know?
Yeah. That's the only solution to burnout, right? You know, they say the solution to burnout is nothing. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to do absolutely nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how you get better through this. But we need to give them back their time in order to do that, because if they cannot decompress and have silence and just enjoy a moment, if they're thinking, I didn't answer that email, because in that silence, that's what fills it up. Yeah. That's what's happening in that silence.
3 a.m. You wake up.
You know? Yeah. Yeah. And so they're not really decompressing, because the list of tasks are in their head, and they're just thinking, boop, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't call that person back. I owed that person an email. Oh shoot, I should have told the client that it was this much money for that call, you know, and oh no, are they going to be mad at me about that? And then it's just like a million thoughts in their head. And these organization skills, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm terrible. My husband almost says, you are almost resistant to organization. Because I am messy, and I have a messy life.
We all do, Laurie. Nobody's trying to like act like we don't here.
I don't want to see my like
my room is clean. My inbox is not.
That's
my room.
My
It's just that the reason it takes long, and that's where like I find that there's this human side of it, and then there's the AI side, and there's a lot of time that I want to just answer that myself. Like I think it should come from a person, you know, and same thing with like writing captions on my Instagram. You know, that Tetris comment that I made, AI didn't come up with that. That was me thinking about how I can relate my love of Tetris and interior design and how we put floor plans together. And like, that's what Tetris, that's what I do. So there's this side where like, I want to write my captions and I want to reply to emails and I want to be personal, but that takes time. So things need to wait so that you can have that personal human interaction with me. If you want that, like, and I hate to say this, but the cheaper version, which is the AI response, you can have that and you can have it faster. But if you want to wait for me and my human experience and my expertise, I'm sorry, but there's a line and I have a busy day. So I will get to it when I get to it. You know, and that's the advantage of not using AI, that personal touch.
Yeah.
Right. And people need to know that they're talking to you sometimes. I mean, I have people who come into the DMs and interior design community, and they're like, who am I talking to? And I'm like, you're talking to Laurie.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
human touch is going to be what we need.
So, I mean,
and what
they
we
love
crave,
that.
you know, like after COVID.
Oh, I mean, as we feel more of this sense of inauthenticity, the more we're going to crave it. The more we're going to crave real human. Like, is that you talking to me, or is that an AI talking to me on this Zoom? You know what I mean? It could be. I could be interviewing you right now as an AI.
Yeah, with your lag, you might be. I don't know. Maybe this is AI, Laurie.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I'm AI. Who knows? And it's just, I think I actually was just I just saw a TikTok of a girl who went on a date and was chit-chatting with a new date, and she told them one of her pictures was AI, and he was like, sorry, I'm out. We left at the date. And she's like, am I in the wrong? Like it's not a fake picture of me. It looks, I mean, it is AI, but it looks just like me. It doesn't look like, you know how it's not making me thinner or prettier or anything. It looks like me. So why does it matter that one of my profile pictures was AI?
Yeah.
And
She say what was AI? Because it could have been the background, right? You could have put her in another place or space, right?
right, it was an AI photo of her, but it looks, I mean, she showed it. It
But I
looks
mean,
just like her.
it was her
It
physical
was her
appearance
face,
that was AI.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
on the image, and he got offended by that. So I think there's like a weird, but then they're also hearing of people who have AI girlfriends, and some guy just proposed to his AI, and he has a girlfriend.
Man,
like,
this
oh man, I would
male
dump that
balding
guy
is
in 2
happening.
seconds.
Coinciding with AI girlfriends.
Right? AI girlfriends, man. It is, I'm like that, or my sister is a very busy person, and she does use AI as her therapist. She put in a bunch of therapy podcasts and therapy books, and she is using it literally
Love
like a
that.
therapist. It talks to her, and she
Let me tell
talks
you,
to it.
let me tell you, ChatGPT like sometimes when I like put in something, frustrating or just I need a response or like dealing with this appliance that's delivered broken, like just, when I'm saying, thank you, this is a really good response. And just some of the responses that it gives me back, like, you got this style, let me know if you, and I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see
Yeah.
that being a thing, you know what I
It
mean?
is.
Yeah.
But it also does a lot of confirmation bias where it'd be like, yes, you should leave your husband. And yes, it
It
wants
is a
to
hype
agree
girl.
with you.
Yeah. So
It
just
really
know
does want to agree with
reality
you.
from it because it's
It
a
is a
mirror,
hype
right?
girl.
So it wants it everything that you have told it is looking at as a reflection. So that's how it's going to reply with its best advice. But it's your hype girl.
Yeah,
But I think
right.
people need that though. I think
Sometimes we do.
you
And
don't
that's
have
why
that.
you
You
have
Yeah.
these
don't have that.
weirdos who are falling in love with it because
Yeah.
they're like, this person said I'm valuable.
And then,
It's not a person, guys.
yeah, find that for yourself. Maybe go to the therapy bot. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's really fascinating, and let's start getting into, because we have 20 minutes left. I really want to go blow all of your minds and start talking about the future of AI, because right now the best bet you can have is scheduling some time with Jenna and giving her what you do and having her give you some tools to shave some hours off of your life and have some time for yourself. That's the best investment you can make. But beyond that, there are things coming down the road that it's just like very important to be prepared that this is where it's going. And so thinking about, just the future and how, like you just said, Nile, like someone answering the phone for you. And that is now, but it's even getting better as time goes on, where it could take your whole assistance. I mean, it could come for your assistant's job more than it would come for yours, where it would answer phone calls, act like a person, do all of your onboarding, set up the first initial meeting for you without you having to be there. I mean, AI voice is so much further along than AI video, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So the agent part of it, where you can give it complicated tasks and feed it a lot of your own personality, it really can do things now and will do things in the future that are very complex. Can you give us a little idea of what that
Yeah,
future
so
looks
like
for an designer?
agent space is one that I'll talk about just as an example, and it's Google's version of this. So basically, they were releasing it for enterprise accounts, but now it should be more accessible to more general businesses and individual users. But basically, agent space is, if you think about all the custom GPTs that you can create, and a custom GPT is basically something that you train on your information and a set of instructions to do one or two tasks for you very, very well, right? So it could be your copywriter, it could help you with writing proposals, budgets, all that stuff. And you can create all these individual ones. So now in agent space, and what we're going to start seeing across a lot of other programs, is the ability to create these specific agents and then have them work together And then also work with your documents. So they can get into your inbox, they can get into you give them permission, but they can get into your inbox, your Google Drive, let's see, your calendar, and then any other resources. So let's say you wanted to like source products or something, and you've got specific websites that you like to go to. You would send those bots to specifically look for whatever you're trying to source. And then it would come back with like information and products based off your restrictions. But it's all simultaneously working in a way that it can then add all of those things to a spreadsheet and then ask you to review them. And it's all internal, and it's all triggered by a paragraph or saying, hey, I need you to go do this. So once you set up these agents, they then work together as little like employees, and they get the job done once you put in that initial request.
Right. And that could be a person sends an inquiry through your website, and an AI, it triggers an AI agent calling that person with your voice and making, asking it some detailed questions and taking notes and sending that to you and setting up the appointment. It'd be, like you just said, a situation where you've started the project and you've put in the parameters and it goes to your favorite resources, and it even emails, contacts, does orders. I mean, it's getting complex. It's going to be becoming very complex. Now, keep in mind that the custom ChatGPTs still fail us.
Yep.
I mean, I put in parameters like don't use M dashes and don't use comparative statements, and it still does.
Yeah.
Even in my custom ChatGPT. So it makes mistakes a lot. And there will, as we move forward with this, it's going to make mistakes. It's going to be a little bit quirky, certainly in the beginning phase of this generation happening. But we have to remember it's in its infancy, and what it can do is remarkable. That we're even talking about this. I would not even imagine us being able to have this conversation a year ago. So I can't imagine what it will be doing in a year. I don't even know. I can't even tell someone truly because we haven't played with them enough to be able to say this is what will really work and how it will work and efficiently and not make a lot of mistakes. You don't want to order a $4,000 sofa accidentally from a vendor. That you don't want to do. But there are certainly checks and balances that I would be putting in place to make sure I see what it's capable of, but it's not going to hurt my business. So don't go too fast with AI. But this idea of the future of how they can save so much more time and how they can scale in a smart way. There's so many designers who have hired people that has cost them more money than it saved them to hire someone. I mean, that is a very strange. And to be able to have some of those tasks done by a bot that would give a designer more time to be creative or to think or to decompress or to explore or to touch and feel and sense, because that is their love. That's what they love to do. That's what really recharges them. I'm all for that. I'm all for, like, let's take away some of the, the tasks that are just eating up our days and we're not
more time in the real world, and not in the digital. Yep. I will say a lot of those things are available now. So like you can do a lot of these things that I just mentioned, almost all of them, honestly. So you can do all of those things. But if you think about how AI is right now, and I think this is kind of the daunting part for a lot of people, it's like, I now need to learn 10 or 15 different programs to achieve what I'm trying to achieve, or to get everything to talk to each other simultaneously, right? But what we're finding is that it's all consolidating into one. And so that's kind of why I started out today with, when Nile asked, where would you recommend somebody starts? And I would say, go to Gemini. If you use Google, go to Microsoft, and use Copilot, because they're building out these systems as an all-in-one slowly. So the pieces that you're like sending to this location, sending to that program, and then zapping them all together, soon they will be done by just simply having a conversation with your bot, and then the task will be completed, not automated trigger points. It's now consolidated into conversations.
Right. Do you think that there will be one that wins over the other? I mean, it is, I know
Yeah.
you want to go to where you already are comfortable, but it's the same as like if I invested all those years ago in, in Bing versus Google. Like there are values in the dominator. And so is it better that they kind of play around with ChatGPT versus Gemini? I mean, I know everybody's trying to catch up. Everybody's trying to implement AI into their systems like Facebook is, and Microsoft. Every big company is trying to figure out how they can dominate AI. Every single one of them. But right
Yep.
now, ChatGPT is the winner in that race. Is that
Yes,
something that we
definitely.
should be paying
But
attention
I
to?
think that a lot of us are using the big hitters anyway, because that's just kind of what our options were for email setup, like it's Microsoft, or it's
Yeah.
Google. So, I don't know that many people that
Right.
fall
Right.
in a gray area there. Those ones might have to choose which side they want to go on. But I see Google, I see Microsoft, and then I see, ChatGPT being the ones that are going to pull ahead, I guess, compared to all these other like startups that, if ChatGPT does one update, all these startups are wiped out. And we keep seeing that. So when designers are like, should I invest in this program? Should I
Right.
invest in that one? Should I do the annual? I'm like, never pay for an annual if it's not something that is established, because we don't know if it's going to be here in 3 months if ChatGPT drops a big release. So I hate to say, but go to the big ones,
Right.
the ones that you use every day, and start there, because they have a better shot of lasting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just saw those awesome Mid-Journey photo to
Yep.
video things, which are so great. I think very valuable for designers who didn't have video content or there's so many designers who don't have video content of their portfolio images. So to be able to not just only animate them, but to animate, I think that the best part of it is to animate it, put it on repeat behind you, and then do
Ooh,
a
I love
video about something in it. Like I want to see your face talking about something you did in that project that only and only you remember. Because first of all, then it is not an AI video. It's you talking. The AI video and behind you is just to show the finished product. It's just to show a video of what you did, but then to utilize that and make, this is what I was doing. And there's a lot of AI within that to help yourself. Like I did one for a designer. We played around. So after the Mid-Journey conversation you and I had, I took 2 still images of hers. I made a loop for that. Then I had her make a video of herself talking about it. In that, I, deleted the back. I put it as an overlay onto the regular video that I had to repeat multiple times. So it was just long enough. But then I took her, deleted her background. So it's just her. I minimized her to the corner. I made sure her eye contact through AI was looking at the camera the entire time. Did a little beauty filter on it. Did a little like AI editing to take out pauses and ums and ahs, and boom, done. And
That's
it
awesome.
is so good. It is about handling a client who their house burned down in the California fires, and that it's partially design work, but it's also partially trauma informed work, where you have to understand you're not recovering you're not just rebuilding a home. You're also they've lost so much. They've lost everything that they belong to them, every family memory when their house burned down. And there's, giving somebody back that sense of security and a real feeling that this is their home, because nothing is going to be their home, right? You have to give that sense of like, I kind of want the same couch I had or so the same end tables. Because there's something of like, I need to have something to anchor myself, when you lose everything. And so she had that in the conversation that she was talking about. And it was just so great. I mean, like, this is the stuff that I think the storytelling part of design is missing. And so to be able to do that, you can't create that kind of content at a client site. Like, they're nice enough to let you use that house for like a day to get the photos, if that, for a designer. So to be able to take the photos and make a video that you can then talk about over the video, I think that that's huge for them. And anything that can do that in 30 minutes rather than
$7,000.
7 hours, even better.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? That's the other part of it is like this, anybody who has any tech skill at all is like, you give me $7,000. And they are just hearing it over and over and over again. That's part of the reason why we made IDC free. Like it's not mandatory. You pay for the membership fee. Great. If you do, it supports everything we're building, but I don't care. I don't want you to feel like I'm another person with my hand out from you. There's enough of that out there. So I love telling them when you are going to spend your money, spend it with somebody who legit knows what they're talking about and really can help you save time and money. And I love that that's your angle. It's not just like, oh, you can pay for this tool. And because there are AI experts out there watching as well that are are stealing ideas, are creating fear factor, are, asking for big, huge investment. And I worry for the designers being taken advantage of in that way. And I don't want to see that happen. I think it's very important that you are getting who you're getting advice from just as much as it is what you're investing in. Because
yes, I think a lot of designers do that out of the fear that you started this conversation with. It's just fear driven and the fear of being left behind and not doing the best job that they can. But like, look at what you do every day. And the creatives are going to rise. As long as you tell your story as a human, that it is relatable to people, that is what's going to set people apart. Unfortunately, the ones that aren't as talented right now and maybe have been BSing their Instagram, those, I guess, fortunately or unfortunately, are not going to succeed. And they're not going to make it through this AI boom because they lack the actual creativity that it takes to run this business.
Right. Yep. And they don't have the stories that you have. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about you could look right now through your portfolio, Nile, and I'm sure every photo you remember 20 different things that happened during the day, at that install or this install. Oh, the guy came in with a tile and he was going to put that in incorrectly. And I had to stop that and I, pull that up and we had to redo it, and just those stories, what they do is they're teaching people who are listening, oh, I didn't know designers do that. I don't know. I mean, the average everyday person doesn't know that you do that, has no clue that you are stopping tile being laid down incorrectly and fix that problem before sometimes the client that you even did it for doesn't even know that you did it. Right. And so it's a way of teaching people what your authority on that subject matter and what you're doing without saying, you want to hire me because I do this, this, and this. You just tell the stories of the day that this went in, this is what I did. And I had to have this fabric hand stitched because it doesn't lay properly. If you don't do that, I have to learn the hard way. These little stories are small in a more subtle way, saying you don't want to handle this. Believe me, you're going to make a million mistakes. So did I. And I learned from them. And I'm here to save you from making those mistakes because I've been there, done that. And that's what a designer is bringing to the table. Often the experienced designers are bringing to the table. They have made the mistakes. They have trusted the wrong sub. They have fixed the problem. We had a question of the day yesterday that was the sub destroyed the bathroom of the client and wouldn't clean it up. And so the designer's like, what do I do in this situation where this sub went in and made a huge mess of the client's bathroom and won't take ownership of it. And everybody's pointing fingers at who did it. Well, in this case, I'm like, is it your sub? You have to clean it up and you need to threaten them that they are going to be asked back on any other future project if they don't. I mean, you're really talking about poop here. Oh, yeah. But that's what is going on, sometimes. Wow. And
oh my God.
These are things that people don't know that designers do, right? But I guarantee you, if she sees a picture of that bathroom anytime in the future, she's going to be remembering, oh, I remember this stuff came in, destroyed that bathroom, and I had to wash it for 3 hours.
Oh and that's a story time reel then after, right?
That's story time reel that would tell a client, I had no idea that a designer does that. right? I had no idea. And I would love to
Mhm.
see designers talk about the stories more, because anyone can take your photos, anyone can create a fake photo, anyone can create a fake video, but no one can steal your history and your knowledge and what you bring to the table. And I think that's the stuff we need to be sharing more. That's the authenticity piece. Like, have the AI behind you, but have you telling the story about what you did.
Thinking
Yeah.
about,
No one knows that but
Nile,
you.
your client journey that you mentioned earlier, where either that client found you on Instagram through the searches and then, rerouted to your site, or they found you on Google and then, went to your site, or however that happened. We have notoriously looked at social media as like that proof of concept, right? Like that this is a legit person. So for me, I'll go to a website and then I will stalk all of their socials to see like who they really are, right? So that story, whether she came
Yep.
one way or another, if you had those videos and you were telling those stories, like done. That's a done deal. I'm hiring you once I can see how real you are. And so that's also what these search engines are looking for. And it's not I matched my search, SEO text with the Google and then I got, higher rankings, or I paid to be there and show up on the top 10 pages. Now it's looking for credibility. You know what you're doing, and other people can vouch for that. Not just fluff that you can generate with AI blog posts, like, because anybody can do that. But if you are a designer, you're leaving, a walkthrough and you do voice clips. So I do this a lot in the car. I will just activate the voice note section, or I'll have a conversation with Perplexity on my phone, which is a great search engine, by the way. I will document voice audio clips and then take that clip to repurpose to write a blog. I don't do it the other way around. I don't ask ChatGPT or AI models to write for me. I give them the context and what I want to say, and then it rewrites it so that it actually sounds good. So just different ways to solidify and bring like storytelling from your day to day.
Yeah.
And
while it's hot and fresh in your mind, you can talk about it. And, you just, like you said, the voice to text in all of these platforms as a means to create information, documents, and social media posting and blogs is so valuable. I mean, because I will say, if you're just asking it to do it, it's very generic. It just tends to be like, here's 5 generic. You could say, what are the 5 ways you should style a room? It's going to say light and bring in, a plant or flowers or vegetables. It's going to say the things that everybody knows, but it's not going to say the things that that you've done that have worked. And like, oh, it's great if you're doing a bedroom to put pizza boxes behind the sham so that like they stand up higher. Like, it's not going to know that. It doesn't really know real life.
Exactly.
It just knows what it's found online. So the real things that you're bringing to the table, it really adds, and it becomes more authentic. And I've tested it, A/B testing, just straight ChatGPT listicles versus my own listicles. My own listicles work better. They just do. So your knowledge is important in that process.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jenna. This has been, I hope, very eye-opening for our audience. I mean, it's a very scary topic to talk about AI, and I think you handle it in such an approachable way. And I'm so excited that they have you in their corner to like make those smart business decisions. I think there's a lot of fear around it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.